Hey, this is Nick, aka The Weiler, for the Deadly Operative Grunts Show.
The Deadly Operative Grunt Show! Oh, yeah.
Alright, thank you for joining us on the Deadly Operative Grunt Show. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino, one of the great directors of all time. And in Dog Watching, we're going to be talking about Matt Damon in The Great Wall. Looks kind of interesting. And then in Dog Watching, How to Survive 2 is coming out, so we're going to give you our views on that. But first, it's time for your post-week news. Let's get pwned. Alright, in our post-week news, we have Ben Affleck no longer wants to be the director of the standalone Batman film. So he's asking other people to join in, and from what I can understand, he's going to be the co-director. So he's still going to be the director, he's still going to have a lot to say. I mean, for one, it's Ben Affleck, so we know that just his star power alone is going to, let him say a lot. Plus, when you get to that stardom, you executive produce a lot of the films that you're in. So he's still going to have a lot to say. But I kind of respect him for this because he's basically saying, I don't know if I can do Batman justice, so I'm going to let somebody come in and kind of work under their wing. No pun intended there. Batman, get it? Okay, he got it. So, you have to respect him for that because instead of, going in and just effing everything up, he actually really wants to stay true to the character. So I really like that. I really, really like that. Also, we have The Runaways finally got a reveal of their cast members. And this is really exciting. If you've been watching the channel, I actually had a top 10 graphic novels that would make really good TV series. And this one, I want to say, was number 2. It was either 2 or 3. It was right at the top, and I really love The Runaways. If you haven't read it already, I really suggest it. It's a really good read. Basically, kids are forced to hang out with each other, and they're forced to hang out with each other once a year while their parents meet together. And so one year, they finally get the courage to go and sneak in and figure out what their parents are talking about, and it turns out they're supervillains. So they run away, and so the cast for the Hulu series was finally announced. At the making of the top 10, I had heard rumors that they were going to make it into a series, and I was really excited. I made sure to put that in the top 10 because I wanted to make sure I was covering my bases. But now that it is confirmed, now that we have the cast members, and the cast members do look a lot like their comic book counterparts, so I really like that. And obviously the people talking about the actors are very glowing and saying that they capture the spirit, but of course that could just be marketing BS. But I'm very hopeful. It looks really cool. It comes from extremely good source material, and I love the fact that instead of making it a hour-and-a-half movie, they're making it into a series, so we can really get to know these characters. So Morrowind is coming to Elder Scrolls Online, and one thing I guess kind of surprises me is just how much Elder Scrolls is actually doing really well for itself. I played it. I didn't personally like it, but it is something I could see myself getting into if I had a really cool guild or something. So hey, join the Deadly Operative Grunts guild, huh? Let's get in there together on the PS4. But Morrowind happens to be one of the more liked regions of the Elder Scrolls universe. So the fact that they're adding it, and they're not just doing it as an add-on, okay, here's a free update. They're actually, it's its own expansion. They're going to have the entire region. So I'm assuming you're going to get on a boat or on a carriage or something. You have to go over there rather than, you just keep walking to the left or something. So look out for that. It's coming out on June 6th. So look out for that. Also on July 11th, Final Fantasy XII, the remastered version, is coming out. I'm personally excited about this because I didn't get a chance to play that. And it was because it was on the PlayStation 2 and it was right when the PlayStation 3 was coming out, so I had already gotten my PlayStation 3, and so I just didn't get the chance to play it. I'm really excited about it. It has very mixed reviews, but I mean, so does any Final Fantasy nowadays. But I'm excited for it. I'm at least going to give it a try. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. But the most thing I'd say I'm excited for is Stranger Things Season 2. They're starting to give little teases. And so they released one thing where it's the characters and they're in the Ghostbuster costumes. So that confirms that this is in the 1984, which happens a year after Season 1. Which, if you paid attention to Stranger Things right when it was released for the Season 1, they said that if they were going to make a Season 2, they'd have to jump a year in order to make it so that, like, the kids didn't go all Harry Potter and all of a sudden now they're, like, super old and stuff. And so I'm super excited. Stranger Things was just one of the best things you could watch on Netflix. Even more than Orange is the New Black. Even more than Daredevil. Absolutely awesome series. And the fact that they're just trickling out little leaks. See right, I did that? I'm really excited because that just means we're even closer to a trailer. And I'm just like, oh, there's so many questions I want answered. They tied certain things up into a bow and I didn't particularly like that. But I'm still just so excited for a Season 2. What do you guys think? Are you excited for Season 2? Let us know in the comments below. Up next on Dogs at Play, we're going to be talking about How to Survive 2.
Stop the presses! Stop the presses! Okay, so apparently How to Survive 2 is out today. Now, today is Tuesday, and we record on Sunday. So the entire time when we're talking about How to Survive in the next segment, we're talking as if it's about to come out. And in fact, if you see here, it says on a reputable website that is coming out on February 17th, which is why we chose to talk about it on today's episode. I don't know if this is a mistake, I don't know if the PSN accidentally put it up early, or if this reputable website is wrong. But I just wanted you guys to know that so we don't look like a bunch of idiots. Any more so than usual.
Alright, so on Dogs at Play, we're going to be talking about How to Survive 2. With me today is
Doug, aka The Freshness. Hello.
Alright, now we actually did a playthrough of How to Survive the first one, so you got a chance to play it for the first time. What did you think about the first one?
It was very entertaining. Like I should say, not slightly, very slightly entertaining.
Very slightly entertaining.
Yeah, it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. I love the crafting system.
Yeah.
You can't really have a zombie game nowadays without one, so.
Yeah. Which I think, I agree, you can't have it without it, just because it lends that kind of authenticity to it. Mm-hmm. Because obviously in a zombie apocalypse, we can assume that it's not going to be like Left 4 Dead, where there's just, tables of ammo and guns and stuff like that, 8 first aids, and they're just going to keep coming at us, and we can just shoot them anywhere, and they'll die.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I really like it.
But.
So, I mean, I really liked it. I played it on the PlayStation 3, and then I actually bought it again for the PlayStation 4. So I liked it so much, I bought it twice.
Liked it so much. You really like it then? For you? Yeah.
Yeah, I like the crafting. I like the isometric, over the top camera. I think that's kind of cool because it makes it feel more like an RPG. Mm-hmm. Rather than like, a turn-based or even like third-person shooter. Even if it was like a third-person shooter, but you still have to do a lot of meleeing and a lot of like shooting or whatever. Although on the PC, they do have a third-person mode. I kind of
Is
wish...
it like over the shoulder?
I think so.
Mode?
Like
Okay.
third person, yeah, over the shoulder.
I don't know.
I mean, I would like to try it out, but for this particular game, the isometric camera really works the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because just with how it's, like, how the controls are, how, like, you have to hold down and then do, like...
I got so used to, was it Dead Nation? Because you and I played Dead Nation a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still, it's set up almost in the same way, whereas, you know, you move with your left, and then your right control is where you're pointing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first got into it, though, it took us a little bit to get used to, because I was, you know, trying to point in that direction, thinking that it was shoot the guy. And instead, my guy's like turned, he's walking this way, but he's turned, you know, 180 degrees, hitting the guy right behind him. So it took a little bit to get used to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fun. But enough about that. Let's go on to the second one. It's coming out. So the second one, they're going to be adding a lot of features. And I went onto their website and, you know, I just figured, you know, I'm going to read it from here. Straight from the horse's mouth. So key features. Multiplayer is here! You can invite up to 16 player access to your camp, and 4 of you can play simultaneously.
So I was going to ask, so do you have to offer the people, or is it going to be 16 random people from the server can be in your... So do you actually have to invite them into your camp?
Yeah, I think since it says invite, I think they're just naturally, like, they can't come. Which it is weird that you have to invite them, and then you can congregate at your tower, for all you Destiny fans.
Yeah.
You can congregate at your tower, but
only 4 of them can go with you.
yeah, that seems a little weird, but I mean, and since they used the word invite, that's what's throwing me off. Because I almost thought, kind of like you, where they just kind of show up.
Yeah.
And it's like the tower, and everybody goes there and then goes off. But it is a base, which we'll get to that in a second. You can create your own base. Mm-hmm. So I guess let's move on. Teamwork.
Okay.
All players can contribute to a bigger, better camp and can perform co-op actions and strategies. So I guess that kind of answers our questions, because like somebody can join in and they can help me build the base, and you know, so they're making a barracks over here, I'm making a medical thing over here. Mm-hmm. So
does it like get periodically attacked as well? I mean, or are you just doing it just for the aesthetics?
I think that does say something here later about getting attacked.
Okay.
New improved camera follows your character, allowing you to zoom in and out on the fly. So
we saw some of that in the trailer where it was...
Yeah.
I mean, because, the graphics look a little more refined
A little.
compared to the first one, but not near as much as what I would think it would be for a second title.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the fact that it's like, oh, it follows your character. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it? I don't know, that seems weird. But I think what it means is that it's keeping you in the center, whereas on the first one, you could get to the edge of it, and it... You know, it's
and then
almost,
it would move up.
Yeah, it would start to move when you get about halfway to the top.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I guess maybe it's going to stay in the center. But obviously, if you have co-op, then it's still going to do that same thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's see. New randomized environments. I like this. New randomized environments from the unforgiving Mississippi Delta bayous to the abandoned streets in New Orleans, French Quarter.
Yeah.
So actually, when we were watching the gameplay footage... we noticed that you go back to your central hub, and that's where you build shit, and you get your different buildings and your walls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then every time you got a new mission, you'd go somewhere else. So I'm like, okay, well, are these randomly generated? So this right here confirms that. Randomly generated. Which could go one of two ways. Either that could be super awesome, or it could be so generic that it's like, okay, well, this building's over here when it used to be over there.
Oh, yeah, that I could see that.
So
that would be kind of boring,
yeah.
I guess you would say.
So hopefully it's the good kind of randomized, and like you can find something that you've never seen before. Like I hope that's what it is. And either way, I do like I like a lot of roguelikes, Rogue Legacy is a good one. Ziggurat is a first-person shooter, and it's randomly generated. And with that one, or with both of those, basically each room is randomly generated. Mm-hmm. It can choose from 100 different variants, and then the enemies inside are also randomly generated.
Okay.
And so if we get something like that, that's not so bad, as long as everything's not too fetch questy, which unfortunately the gameplay we saw was extremely fetch questy.
Yeah, it was.
So let's go. A new, deeper crafting system will allow you to use items and materials to create hundreds of items, tools, and weapons to upgrade your character and your base camp.
Now all I gotta say is only 100?
Right? That's hundreds, not thousands.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Set up, upgrade, and protect your camp as you want. Choose from a wide, upgradable variety of traps, barricades, obstacle, and workshops that will allow you to do different skill trees and allow you to create more materials and items. So that last part sounds like Minecraft, where you would need a forge in order to do more complicated stuff. So you could have a workbench and you could create a bow and arrow and a wooden sword.
Yeah.
Or a pickaxe or something like that. But to get steel swords and steel pickaxe, you need a forge because you need something to melt the iron with.
Yeah.
So that last part saying workshops that will open different skill trees, that's kind of what it sounds like. But on the positive side of that, it sounds like the more you're upgrading your base, just the more that's available to you. So I'm okay with that.
And then it becomes more available to you for even your missions, So you go, if you have an armory, built an armory, you have better weapons. Do you get to change what you're carrying and everything before you even go out on the missions?
That's kind of how it seems, even just the way they have it set up, since there is a hub world and then a mission area. It kind of seems like I'm going to go back, I'm going to craft. Now, what they can do, a lot of other games do, is they can have it so you start foraging and you start creating something and it takes 10, 15 minutes, and so maybe you have to go run a couple of raids while it's finishing foraging.
Yeah.
And then you take that into the battle with you. And then obviously the setup, upgrade, and protect your camp kind of goes back to what we were saying before, where the point of having 16 people is that maybe the further into the game you get, the harder the waves become, and there is a game mode in the original How to Survive where all you do is you stay in one area and you just survive wave after wave after wave. And so now actually making it a part of the game kind of sounds kind of cool, and maybe you can play a good portion of the game just doing that.
Yeah.
And what would be
Not
really
having to go out on missions.
what would be really cool is if by doing forges and stuff like that, it would make a lot of noise, and that's what draws the zombies in.
Yeah.
So you want an orange sword or something, and it takes longer, but you need to protect your forge as it's forging. Something like that would be really cool, and I think would just add a layer to it. It's do I want to go for a blue item, and it only takes 5 minutes and a bunch of zombies come, or do I want an orange one, takes up a shit ton of my material, and it takes 15 minutes, and a bunch of zombies and special zombies start coming at me.
Yeah.
I hope it's the latter. I really do.
That one does sound more entertaining.
Quests and infinite random raids. So this is kind of cool. Obviously, for all you MMOers, you know that a raid is the top tier, the hardest thing to do in an MMO, and usually is multi-stage. You have a boss at the very end, and that boss you have to take down a very particular way. Maybe, with this particular... let's speculate here for a second. Let's say one of the zombies, you have to find a gas, and then throw it at it, and only when it's affected by the gas is when you can damage it.
Okay, yeah.
And you have to get the gas from killing a certain number of zombies, and they drop something.
Mobs that come in with
Yeah.
it, yeah.
And then, so then you have to craft the gas, and then throw it at it. You know, that's just an example. I would hate if something like that isn't in the game, and I just came up with an awesome idea, and they don't even have it in the game.
Yeah.
Like, God, I should have been making this game. And then night and day cycle and weather conditions, which was in the original one, so that's not completely surprising.
Yeah.
You know, so from that and the gameplay that we were able to see, you know, what are you most excited for? What are you excited for?
Well, being able to play with more than 2 people, that's going to be, I think, very exciting.
Yeah.
Especially if we can get another person with it. To me, though, it looks almost the same, I guess you would say. So, there's more crafting you can do. So, I mean, it would be, especially you can like start working on your the way that your armor looks compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, it did look like that.
So, but as far as like the gameplay goes and all that, I mean, it looks exactly the same. So I'll be having fun making my character unique. But I'll just be, you know, just like any other person, and unless it's class based, which I didn't see anything on there about it.
I didn't see anything that suggested that there would be classes. But yeah, the crafting system looked really unique. They showed this one like revolver, and it showed like he was putting on and taking off different attachments. So there was like a silencer, a scope, a stock, and you know, and it all looked like handmade. So I kind of like that. That's one of the main reasons I like Metro 2033 or Metro Last Light.
Yeah.
Is because there's a lot of weapons in that. Like the dual barrel shotgun looks like somebody just got 2 steel rods and makeshift shotgun out of it. You know, and so it really looked like authentic, especially since it was supposed to be set like years after, you know, a big cataclysmic event. And so obviously we can assume the same, that this is years after the zombie outbreak, and people, in order to survive, had to start crafting things themselves and making the bullets, making the traps, you know, so getting just a bunch of gunpowder, putting it in a can, and then just putting a bunch of nails in, and that's your grenade.
And then also to survive together, they also started conjugating together, making the bases. So, and that seems a little bit interesting too. I'm not sure if I would like. I don't know if I trust my friends enough to mess with my base, but
maybe your immediate ones.
Yeah.
D.O.G for life. But no, I can see what you mean. But I think maybe that's why they decided to make it invite only, because they didn't want trolls to come in and be like, I'm gonna tear down this whole fucking building.
Right in the middle of a swarm or something.
Right. Either that, it's all like, this turret is good over here, and it's like pointing away from everything. What are you doing? That's probably one of the most annoying things about Dungeon Defenders. When you get in with a random group in Dungeon Defenders, the configurations these people come up with is just like, why?
Why did you build it there?
You see a line where the enemies go, where they go, what direction they're coming from, if there's aerial, and it's like, based on just that little, you know, blinking line, it's really easy to be like, okay, here's a choke point. But instead they like put it like, there was this one I got into, and they put like almost all their defenses right at the door, which I guess is good. But sometimes when you have like 2 doors and they conjoin or whatever, it's better to do that, because then, you know. But I mean, people have different strategies, and some of them are wrong.
Was that one working at all? To me, it seems like they would just all gather right there, and you would have to constantly keep repairing your...
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, just keep attacking it.
There was that was towards the end, but then at the beginning when they were a little bit, you know, the easier things, it was so boring because we didn't have anything to do.
So,
so you gotta make it interesting. I mean, But then, yeah, towards the end, it was just like most of my time was just repairing. It's a little like, this tower went down, this tower went down. And I'm like, well, yeah.
They're right there in front.
Well, not only that, but when they're, compact like that, you get an ogre out there, and he does this big, like, butt slam, and it damages all of them almost to the point where they're dead, and then all he has to do is one big swoop, and it takes them all out. Or 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, back to the game we're supposed to be talking about. But I can
That's
imagine...
how we fill time, is just go off in little tangents.
But I mean, the same thing, I guess, can be towards How to Survive and the 16 people, is if you have people just putting shit up wherever the hell they want, that can be a little annoying. So hopefully the fact that they're invited and not just, like the tower where everybody goes there, hopefully that would fix that problem.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, red flags for me is, as far as I know, on the PC, it's been in early access since October 29th of 2015.
So almost, not almost 2 years, but over a year already.
Over a year already. And so why that worries me is because I bought a game, I was super excited for it, called 7 Days to Die. You remember we played that. Mm-hmm. And only after did I find out that they were still in beta.
When you bought it?
When I bought it on the PlayStation 4. So on the PC, they're still in early access or beta or whatever, but I bought the game on PlayStation 4 for like $30, and it wasn't even done. Yeah!
I would be pissed.
And at least if they would have like, for instance, Dungeon Defenders 2 on the PlayStation 4, it is labeled as early access.
Still?
Yes, it's not. It's not the full game yet. I don't even know if they have an idea of when they're putting it out. They're just... I mean, they've had so many additions to it.
Yeah.
But
okay.
How to Survive.
Well, it's odd that they do this. You pay for something that's not yet completed, so they're already getting the money. So what's their motivation to actually complete the game?
Yeah, that's another one that did it is Paragon, also on the PlayStation 4. So I don't know if that's a conjecture of, if that's a sign of like how games are going nowadays, or if that's a bad omen for PlayStation 4 in general. Because, like I said, you had 7 Days to Die, you had Paragon, I think Smite was still in its beta form, which Smite has been out for like years on the PC, and then it finally came over to the consoles. But it's still in beta form, and you can get it for free, but at first you did have to pay for it to get early access. But then you got like the Founders Pack and blah, blah, blah.
Still, it's an uncompleted game. I
Yeah.
would never spend money on an uncompleted... I mean... They even said that Mass Effect 3 was a completed game when it came out. And people were still pissed that and that was a completed game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's my main red flag, is that at least on the PC, at the time of this recording, maybe they finalized it at midnight, and so I look like an idiot because you go online after, looking it up, because that's what you people do.
That's not right.
But at least they're still in early access, or beta. I think they're at least beta. So here we are. We're about ready to buy it on the PlayStation 4. I'd really like to try it out. So unfortunately, I can't get a disc for it, so I'm going to have to buy it. But that does worry me just because of that bad taste in my mouth from 7 Days to Die. Which, funnily enough, is another zombie game.
Yeah. Well, it's a survival, you build.
You craft.
The only thing is first-person shooter, I would think.
Yeah, that's the only difference. So, but how much I like the first one, that kind of gives it a pass. And so I'm really hoping that they've had enough patches since then, and it's not broken, or it's not like we have to have an uncompleted game, or we have to buy an extra DLC in order to get like the real ending or something like that. But that is a huge red flag for me. And so I think I'm definitely going to wait like a day or two, look at the Reddit and look at the
do your research.
Do my research because it worries me that it's still in its beta form.
You have to do that with games now. Actually doing research. It wasn't like that when I was buying games. If you wanted the game, I mean,
make it.
Yeah. If you're going to spend $30 on a game, usually that game, because it was so new, I guess you would say, such a new craze, that it was worth $30. Almost any game that you yourself wanted to buy. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say there was much research anyway to do, except for what was marketed to you in the TVs.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't really internet back then anyway.
Yeah.
And if
there was no blogs going on like, I hate this game for these reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's racist because
you found it along with everyone else because everyone was playing around the same exact time.
Yeah. But. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I'm a little hesitant.
If you buy it, I'll play it, but I'm not going to buy it.
Well, fine. Alright, so I mean, that's what we think. Have you played How to Survive? Are you excited for the second one? Let us know in the comments below. Up next on Dog Watching, we're going to be talking about Matt Damon.
and guards.
And guards.
Lots and lots of guards.
Yeah, on a wall. And one of them's the Bears.
Yeah, the Bear guards.
Alright, so we're doing that up next.
Hi, this is Nick from the Deadly Operative Grunts show. Are you or someone you love a nerd? There are many warning signs that you can look out for. Are they really good at math or science? Do they celebrate strange holidays like May the 4th, Winter Eansmas, or Hobbit Day? Do they have heated discussions about the difference between a light year and a parsec? Do they claim to catch invisible creatures by going outside and staring at their phones? Do they often solemnly swear that they're up to no good? Or do they answer every question with the number 42? All these might point to you or your loved one being a nerd. At Repop Gifts, they're here to help. With a wide variety of items and a selection of one-of-a-kind works of art, you won't want to leave. Need to try something on? Then use their wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey changing room. Great for birthdays, holidays, or just to add to your collection. Repop Gifts near the corner of 31st and State